Hello, I'm Mary Yanez, Director of the Senior Adult Program, and this is Mature Living, and thank you for joining us. We have an interesting topic for you all today and challenge everybody to see how we can all help with cybersecurity. And so we've invited David Rodriguez, who is a Junior Systems Administrator with El Paso Community College in the IT Network Systems. Thank you for being with us,
Thank
David.
you for inviting me, Mary. It's been a little while. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, you're always so knowledgeable and helpful at the college for all the employees. I always have questions and need advice. And so we thought, why not also provide some advice for our viewers here at Mature Living?
Absolutely.
So let's talk about cybersecurity tips. But first, I wanted to ask you, tell me about your job, your position here at the college, how long you've been at the college.
So I started at EPCC in 1998 as a work study and worked my way through the IT department. I've worn a lot of hats in my time here. I've done help desk, I've done some training. I helped our technology resource center with, during COVID, I helped with the training for teams. And so that's a lot of what my job involves, is the cloud-based side of what the college does. So I handle stuff like email, I handle Teams, I'm the system administrator on that side of the house. I handle a lot of when there's an account that gets compromised and we have to lock it down and do an investigation. So I do a lot of the cloud-based stuff.
Yes.
But I'm learning some of the hardware-based stuff, and it's very interesting and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so a lot of what I do is I'm supporting the organization in licensing and maintenance and security and all of that. So.
And it's important because I've even got phone calls of you say, Mary, you're sending too many emails all at once.
So a lot of companies will have an automated process that when there's too many emails going out from an account, it will say like, hey, there's suspicious activity on this account, we need to check and what's going on. So that's a lot of what my day-to-day is. A lot of that is, okay, we see suspicious activity, what's going on, reaching out to the user, hey, I'm seeing a lot of these emails, is everything, oh yes, I'm sending out flyers. I know Senior Adult Program sends out stuff for their classes often. So just to kind of make sure that everything's okay, everything is working as it should be.
This topic about social media, the internet, using the internet, and there's so many bewarers. What do we need to be aware of, just to kind of give you an idea? But I do want to mention that through the Senior Adult Program at the El Paso Community College, we offer like about 8 or 10 classes in technology, internet, social media, how to use your devices. We are just super busy, and we want our community, our seniors, to take advantage of the free classes, tuition free. And
they should, because it will help them get an understanding, not just of the do's and don'ts, but not being afraid of technology. Technology is part of our world, but we've seen kind of the two sides of that, right? So there's a lot of talk of going to a cashless, but if the internet goes out like it does from time to time, stores can't take payment with credit cards, and so there's that double-edged sword of things need to be reliable and things need to be accessible to people. And so that's one of the things with security that we focus on, is reliability and accessibility, but also confidentiality.
Yes.
So there's a lot of rules that we have in place that sometimes people don't like.
Yes.
Well, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And it's because you don't understand the confidentiality or how what you're doing could affect other areas.
And more we're doing banking even.
Yeah.
They're encouraging us to do things
in fact,
online.
There's some banks that are entirely online. They don't even have an office you can visit.
Or statements going out.
Yeah, statements are all through email. And so kind of coming back to what you're talking about on social media, they used to tell us, when I was a kid, don't talk to strangers. But we post our entire lives online on social media, Facebook. I'm going out of town. I'm going to Cancun. That kind of post can attract the wrong kind of attention, right? So posting that you're going to be out of town before you go out of town You could be inviting people who are following you to rob your house.
Bad actors.
Yeah, and because of the people, I don't use Facebook, but of all the people that you are your friends on Facebook, how many of them do you actually know? Yeah. Some of them are friends of friends or friends of friends of friends, and so it's one of those things that like you really shouldn't post things online that you wouldn't tell a complete stranger who walks up to your door.
Yes, good point.
And
good tip.
And we'll get back to that when we go talk about maybe some red flags and stuff later on.
Yes.
But on social media, it's a great way to communicate with friends and family and reconnect with people you haven't seen in a long time. But it's not without its hazards. It's not without its dangers. There's a lot of scams that are perpetuated through social media. When there's a crisis, there's a lot of misinformation that gets perpetuated through social media because everybody wants to be the one to break the story. Everyone wants to be the hero. And so this misinformation gets out. So be really careful when you see a post on social media. If you're only seeing one person saying something, look for another source.
Yes.
In fact, and I don't have it with me because I didn't bring my notes, but there's a very large majority of people now that they get the entirety of their news entirely from social media. They don't go to CNN anymore or MSNBC. They get all of their stuff through social media because these media companies know that and they're putting their information out. But it's very easy, right? It sounds a lot like gossip, doesn't it? So yeah, people just need to be really careful. Not everything you read on social media is true.
Yes.
And take the time to verify when you see something that seems outrageous, especially things that seems outrageous. That's something the last several years has been, some people call it clickbait or rage bait, right?
Yes.
It's a very controversial topic or a very controversial take on a topic, but the whole purpose of it is not to give information. It's to get engagement from people who are angry about this thing. So there's a lot of that happening. And we see that on how divided our country can be at times when it comes to certain topics. And if people would just sit and talk to each other instead of talking at each other,
yes.
Social media would be a lot less hostile.
Yes.
But also these companies would not be getting the engagement. So we have to also realize that social media companies are actively taking part in increasing that kind of traffic.
Yeah.
They want the controversy because it draws eyes. And the more eyes that are on the platform, the more money they make on advertising. And that's something a lot of people have this misconception. And again, I don't agree with most of what social media in general, and I won't name any CEOs in particular, but some of them are starting to monetize their platform because they're like, we're not making money off of advertisers, so we'll charge you $1 a month.
Oh,
which is fine.
For
but
the
realize,
millions and billions of people.
But then realize that if you're not paying for a product, the product is you. So if you're on Facebook for free, how is Facebook making money? They make money off of selling advertising. They make money off of selling your data, your likes, your interests.
They follow you.
So, and this is something that happened, I want to say about 5 years ago, maybe slightly more. But there was a young person who was involved in a business that her family would not approve of. And so she had a social media account for her clients. She had a social media account for her family on 2 different devices. So she had one phone for one and one phone for the other. Well, then it started recommending her clients to her personal page and her family to her work page.
Oh, no.
And so she never tied anything, but social media knows, this person is the same person, you must know them. And it put this person at risk because social media knows everything about you and sometimes more about you than your own family. And so people really need to be careful about the kinds of things they're posting. Again, if you're going to go on vacation, post the photos when you get back.
Okay, yes.
And don't post that you're leaving to the Bahamas. Just
yes, and one of the things that we need to be conscious of is that in the family, there's grandmas and grandpas, there's young people, there's college age, there's high school kids, even elementary. And so when they post something, if you're looking for a job, sometimes your employer looks to see what.
So more often than not now, your employer will ask for your social media account information. Particularly the younger generation, they're more likely to ask them. And that is because a company knows that their employees represent them on the clock and off.
Yes.
So if you're doing things that could bring bad publicity to that company off the clock, they would be less likely to hire you.
Yes.
So again, not to be a nag, but don't post stuff on social media you wouldn't tell a stranger who showed up at your door.
Very good. Good rule.
And it's, it can be a very powerful tool. So there's entire groups of musicians and artists that they made a living completely off of social media. It can be a very powerful tool if used correctly, but it can also hurt somebody a lot.
We mentioned red flags.
Yes.
Are there some in particular that you want us to know about?
I know one, especially now that we're coming, during holiday season or during even other parts of the year, people just showing up at your door. I represent this organization, right? And it took a while to break a couple of my family members of, they have this habit of, the polite thing is you open the door and you talk to them face to face. You don't talk to them through the door. That is no longer safe to do. In fact, it's probably never been safe to do, but it's been more publicized that, you open your door, you're opening the door to someone possibly carrying out a home invasion.
Yes.
Because you've removed a barrier between yourself and that person.
Yes.
I know that many utility companies put out warnings often that, hey, we're not sending people door to door to collect payments.
Ooh,
That's not how utilities work.
Yes.
So those are some red flags, is an unexpected person at your door.
And sometimes they wear uniforms and you think they're the real thing.
And and again, you can go put a uniform together with stuff from any department store.
Yes.
So, just being aware of what's right, right? So you should know, okay, I know what a police officer's uniform looks like, right? But if they show up at your door, right, and they knock on your door and you didn't call them, okay, why are you here? So that's always kind of the thing, is someone showing up at your door, why are you here?
And also a good practice is, can you hold off? I'm going to call the company right now. The electric company or whatever, the water company.
And call the number that's on your bill. Don't they give you a card under the door or through the side? Don't call the number that they give you on the card. Call the number that's on your bill, and say, hey, there's somebody here claiming to represent you. And
they'll probably disappear.
And if that person disappears, then it probably was not legitimate.
Yes, very good.
But again, just
how about telephone?
Oh man, the phone. One of the things that really bothers me is the amount of scams that come through the phone. And that's because it's very difficult to verify where the calls are coming from. Okay. And so you might get a call and it can say whatever on the caller ID. It doesn't mean it's coming from that company. And so, one of the things particular is, if you didn't ask for a service, no one's going to offer you that service in most cases. So things like insurance, especially when the Medicare renewal comes around, and there's like an open where you can change from one company to another. You might start getting calls. Oh, like, we can offer you better rate. We can offer you this and offer you that. But Medicare is Medicare. Yeah. Right? It's the same regardless. So for one company to claim they're going to offer you better benefits, I don't know if it's an outright lie, but it's maybe something you should strongly consider before you decide, oh yeah, like, let me give this person my social security number so they can look up my account, right?
And never say yes on the phone, right?
That's a very hard habit to break. We were talking about this before we started, where people ask, is this Mary Yanez? Our automatic answer is, well, yes. Instead of, how may I help you? Or what can I help you with? What did you need? Who's calling?
That's good.
Because a lot of scammers will use your recorded voice when you say yes to approve stuff that you didn't actually say yes to. And again, I don't know how widespread that particular scam is, And I know there's been a lot of news about AI voices where they take someone's voice and they make it sound like it's them. And there's been a big publication of, some different kinds of scams related to that. I don't have enough information on combating that, but it's
and the
something
same
to
thing
just
with
be aware
emails.
of.
Same thing with emails, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I just want to take a little break right now, and we'll be back with David Rodriguez from the El Paso Community College IT Network Systems, and we'll be back.
My name is Glenda, and I'm 81 years old. In 2014, I met the love of my life online, and he told me that he was a U.S. citizen and was working in Nigeria. He asked me for money to help with his business and help leave Nigeria. Then my love had people send me electronics like cell phones so I could pawn them and send him the money. When I couldn't get the money that he wanted, he asked me to open personal and business bank accounts. Since 2015, bank employees, local police officers, and federal agents told me that my love was a scam and that I needed to stop or I could go to jail. I didn't listen to anyone else but my love, the love I've never seen nor spoken to. Now I don't have a choice of whom I'll listen to. On November the 2nd, 2021, I pled guilty to 2 federal felonies. I'll be listening to the judge now.
Thank you for staying with us. Of course, this is Mature Living. I'm Mary Yanez, and I want to introduce you to David Rodriguez, who is the Junior Systems Administrator with the El Paso Community College IT Network Systems. And so we're going to talk a little bit about cybersecurity, maybe some tips that we all can use throughout our I guess you could say, our journey through cyber, through using the internet, using our PCs, using email. And so we want to just ask him a little bit as we get started, just to share a little bit about what you do with the college.
So part of my role at the college is handling email, we talked about. So I'm one of the email administrators. I help with, when there's an account that gets compromised, we lock it down, we do an investigation. I help with most of our cloud-based stuff like Teams, which for people who aren't familiar, it's like a voice chat, video chat
and
platform.
it's kind of like Zoom. Very
similar to that. So that's kind of what I handle on that side. I also assist with some other things security related here at the college. But email, talking about email, it's one of those things that everything's through email now, right?
Yes.
You need to reach your insurance agent, send them an email. You need to do this, send them an email. So one of those things that we had talked about when you and I were just talking was just how many scams come through email and phone. I know phone is another way that scams come through, but a general rule of thumb when it comes to any kind of communication, whether it used to be the letters. You'd get a letter in the mail, some Nigerian prince, send me $300 so I can handle the wire you $10,000. Now it's all through email, and it doesn't cost them anything really to send it through email. So as a general rule, when it comes to communication you're receiving, if you didn't ask for it, it probably shouldn't be offering it to you. A very common scam that comes through email and by phone also are warranty extensions. Your washing machine is out of warranty, and we've partnered with this company to offer you a warranty extension. And so, of course, who doesn't want their appliance to have extended warranty, right? So people get scammed into this, and for you it may be, oh well, it's only $30 a month, it's $60 a month. Well, you're not getting anything in exchange for this service. And when it comes to email, another thing that's very common, especially for younger people, are job scams. People offering a job, oh, it's part-time, you can work from home, you're only, we're gonna pay you this much. But when you compare the amount they're offering you per hour, it's an exorbitant amount. It's $60 an hour, $80 an hour. That should immediately raise a red flag as
Yes.
for any kind of part-time work, right?
Yes.
And so just be really aware of, if it sounds too good to be true, it definitely is.
Yes.
And the whole thing with email is it's everywhere. It's on our phone, it's on our laptop, it's on our tablet. You can have it on your microwave, on your refrigerator. They have all these internet-connected devices now. So just be really aware of what you're doing, and don't share your email address with companies. So one thing that commonly happens is you go to a store and they say, oh, well, can we have your email address so we can send you coupons?
Yes.
So you may do that, right? And you may share it with a particular company. And I won't name any companies because this has been happening lately. You share it with this company, and then their database of customers gets breached.
And then all of a sudden you're getting all these...
Because the data
emails
you shared with a company you trust got compromised. So now companies you don't trust or you don't know now have access to some of your private information.
Yes.
So if you can manage it, and you really, really want coupons, you really like coupons, set up a separate email address for that that's separate from your bank.
Oh, yes.
You definitely want to have those two things separate. Same thing with social media. I would not use the same email address for my bank that I use for social media.
Ooh.
Because social media is a very heavy target for accounts to be compromised. I know Facebook over the last several years have had tens of millions of customers' data get scraped and used for all kinds of campaigns. So you need to be really careful about that kind of thing.
Many times seniors inherit their kids' laptops or tablets or
Right.
phones. And so maybe they need to set up their email, they need to set up passwords. Tell us how we can protect ourselves when we're setting up passwords.
So passwords are hard because we already have so much to remember, right?
Oh, yes.
But it's no longer enough to have a single word and a number and maybe a question mark at the end, right? That's not enough when it comes to a password anymore. I recommend small phrases, obscure lyrics to your favorite song, not the chorus, maybe, right?
Yes.
Right? Don't use money, 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 money for your bank, right? Don't do that. But a short little phrase, and if you
or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, definitely nothing with the word password in it, nothing with the name of the organization in it.
Okay.
Right. So again, I don't like to mention company names, but if you're banking with a specific company, don't put bank of whatever 1, 2, 3 as your password. Like that would not be a good thing to do. But a short password that's a small phrase, so 3 words, 4 words, and it's like a little short sentence.
A number,
and
maybe?
A number and some punctuation.
A symbol. Yeah.
A symbol. And if you have to write it down,
Oh, dear.
put it in a drawer. Don't tape it, or because one thing I see a lot, and I've seen it a lot, in the laptop, and they've got a sticky note on their laptop. You close the laptop. Oh, no one can see my password. But if your laptop is stolen,
Oh, there goes the password.
your password's on the laptop. So definitely, if you have to write it down to remember, little notebook, put it in a drawer somewhere. Chances are they're gonna just, if your house gets broken into or whatever,
Gosh.
hopefully not.
It won't
But if
be.
they do, they're gonna just take what's on top. They're not gonna try and go through drawers in most cases. So you want to try and do that.
Okay.
If you can, and again, I know it's hard. Don't put what the password is for. So you put them in a priority order, right? So for me, if I were going to do that, I would do where I make my money, right? My job, where I store my money.
Ooh.
What do I use my money to take care of? My family. So family-related things would be beneath that, right?
Gosh.
So you have like an order, priority, some kind of system that works for you.
I hadn't heard about that. That's good.
A system that works for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you want to put your family stuff first, and however, but just But don't write down, this is for my bank account, this is for my insurance, this is for my retirement savings, this is, right? You definitely don't want to label them, because in the event that that gets stolen.
And they're so smart. I mean, sheesh. The crooks and the scammers are really smart people.
It's not that they're smart. They pick targets of opportunity, right? When you go to the mall and they tell you, like, lock your car, close your windows, and don't leave valuables out. Why do they say that? Because that's what people are looking for. When a thief or a scammer is looking, they're looking for the low-hanging fruit that's the easiest to grab and go. They're not going to try.
You've got shopping bags in the back seat.
Why would they try and pick a pocket from someone when a lady left her purse on the back of her chair?
Oh,
which is the easier target.
I do that all the time in restaurants.
That's bad. So you don't want to do that. So don't make yourself a target of opportunity. Okay. The harder you make it for them, the more likely a scammer or a thief or whatever is to move on to an easier target. So it's just about reducing our risk by just taking a little bit of extra precaution.
Yeah. And all of us are, especially our elders, are going into our classes or learning how to navigate through the digital world and how to, we have classes in PowerPoint, of course, and Word and all the social media. We have digital devices. We show them how to use their devices, whether they're Android or Apple, the iPhones and things like that. They're learning a lot, but they also need to be very careful because they can't trust. You can't trust anymore. It's the digital world can be very helpful, but it can also be very harmful.
And it's harmful in that so many things are tied to it, right? So now everything is tied to stuff online. So if your bank account gets compromised, right, like they can very easily move money from one place to another, and makes it very hard to track when that kind of theft happens. So again, don't make yourself a target of opportunity. Don't post online things you wouldn't tell a complete stranger at your door, or a stranger you walk up to in the store. You wouldn't walk up to a stranger in the store and tell them, I have this much money in my savings account. No. You wouldn't do that. And yet all the time when these scammers call, and there's a lot of different kinds of scams: insurance, warranty, romance scams. They just call and they start talking, and they get somebody talking, and this person feels connected, and they start just feeling like, I can talk to this person. So they start sharing personal details, and then before you know it, like, hey, I'm in a bind. I need some money.
They start asking for money. That's a red flag.
Yeah, anytime they ask you for your credit card number, if it's not something you intended to buy, you did not go looking for this product, you probably, virus scams, Microsoft's never going to call you and say, we found a virus on your computer. That will never happen.
Okay.
No company will call you and say,
and you pay $500 and we can unlock. Yeah, we'll remove it.
They're not removing anything. They're just charging you money. So again, if it sounds too good to be true, if it's not something you asked for, it's not something you're actively looking for, and it's being offered to you, there's always a cost. So
and the keyword, that's everywhere is hackers. I know a person that got hacked, and then all of a sudden the emails from them was coming, hey, I need some money, or send money to this.
Or gift card scams. Gift card scams is another thing. No legitimate business will ever ask you to pay via gift card. Never, ever. The electric company, the water company.
Like, send us a gift card.
Yeah. No, well, we need you to pay this, but pay it via gift card. So go to the store and buy Amazon gift cards for $100 each. Buy 5 of them, and then read me the numbers on the gift cards. That is not a legitimate method of payment anywhere. You can't use an Amazon gift card anywhere but Amazon. You can't use, again, I don't like to mention company names, but it's just the one that popped into my mind.
Sure.
But it's any kind. No company will ever ask you to pay via gift card. Ever.
Okay, super. We want to just talk about how important in your job is as part of a large entity like the El Paso Community College, the city of El Paso, the county of El Paso, all these big entities, hospitals, how important security is. And maybe one last bit of advice that you want to give our viewers. We have, and our families may be watching, but a lot of elders. some last bit of advice as far as protecting ourselves and our family members.
Well, so like as
you can
part
share.
of a large organization, we're required by the state of Texas to take yearly security training. And that's true of the city, of most hospitals. We're all required. Anyone who touches state data is required. So I want people to feel comforted in the fact that we're required to take that training. But we can only do so much to
Yes.
protect you when you're not here. So if you're out in the community, job fairs, right? You
Yes.
go to a job fair and this person's claiming to represent this company and you include your social security number on your application. It's not as common anymore, but it has been in the past where people will show up at job fairs and just collect applications.
Oh my goodness.
They have no legitimate ties to any company. So just being aware that there's dishonest people out there. You just be aware of that and don't make yourself a target. Don't
Make it easy for them.
make
huh?
it easy for them. Don't make it easy for them. And take advantage of the kinds of training that Senior Adult Program offers, where they
Yes.
have training on all of these things and more. I'm sure we
Yes.
forgot a bunch of things. And if you're not sure, you get a call, you get something, call the legitimate number, whether if somebody claiming to represent a bank, a utility, the company you're leasing your car through, call their number that's on your official documentation through the mail. Call them and say, hey, I got this call, I got this email, I got this. Can you please check? And those
Very
companies will be happy to check, because it would take 10 minutes to check on the problem,
That would
to
take
answer
2
your
years
questions,
to,
and
that
it
would,
can take hundreds of hours
Yes,
to undo the damage.
to undo the problem. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you,
David
Mary. I
Rodriguez, one of our wonderful administrators, junior systems administrator here at the El Paso Community College, always
Thank you for having
keeping
me.
us informed in how we can protect the college, how we can protect ourselves. So thank you so much. If you want to call our senior adult program, you can call 915-831-7801. And remember, you can register for computer classes. They're tuition-free classes for seniors 55 years and older. And we'll see you next week. Thank you for joining us.